Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Tiranno, and today I'm going to be recapping week 24 of my 365-day movie challenge. Now, if you aren't familiar with 365-day challenge, I'm watching a movie every single day for the entire year. And every week I try to do a theme or at least somehow try to make it interesting. This week, week 24, though, doesn't have a theme. It was just kind of a random week. And you could follow me constantly. Every day I'm doing daily updates of what I'm watching on Letterboxd or, of course, on Instagram and Twitter right here at Jacob Tiranno. Now, this week I started off the 365-day movie challenge. I was on day 162. And I watched Central Intelligence. Now, Central Intelligence was a movie that I thought actually did pretty well critically. I think the movie was like at a 60, 70%. I thought it was... Kevin Hart played his typical role, and Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, did an interesting take, playing like this big dork, even though he was like in The Rock's body, he was like a massive monster. He's the coolest guy ever. But he has to play this dork who's like self-conscious about himself. This comedy actually kind of worked for me. A lot of critics were kind of like, but to me, I thought the movie really worked. If you want to know what I thought more about Central Intelligence, well then why don't you just actually watch our full review where I talk about the movie very in depth right up here. Click that white eye. See that white eye right there? It should be popping up a link right now. Okay, a bunch of links are going to drop down. Click Central Intelligence and you can see what I had to say about this movie. But overall, I thought it was alright. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was solid. I mean, it was worth watching, and I'd probably watch it again. The Rock and Kevin Hart have a great chemistry. Okay, the next day, which is interesting because I was watching Finding Dory, my review, again up here, and I was like, okay, that could count as my movie of the day, right? Because I have to watch one movie every day. But I made this rule that I cannot rewatch something that I've seen already. So it has to be a new movie every day. And I said, even if I've watched a big section of it, it doesn't count. And I forgot, not that I forgot, but I had watched 30 minutes of Finding Dory in CinemaCon. So I'm laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and I realize, actually my girlfriend says, what are you going to watch for your movie today? I said, Finding Dory. She goes, that doesn't count, right? Because you watched some of it at CinemaCon? Almost lost the challenge right there. Thank God she said something. So I had to get out of bed, 1 o'clock in the morning, and watch a movie. And I watched Exit Through the Gift Shop, a documentary that I've been wanting to watch for years. And I thought it was an incredibly entertaining documentary that throws its viewers into this world of street art. I think it begins at the first half of the movie is a real absorbing look at the rise or the recent rise of underground and the underground art and street art movement. The rise of Banksy and these people who have gone around, the guy who did Obey, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, Banksy, their kind of rise into popular culture. Banksy even having, like exhibits where Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie show up. It really puts you on the roofs and the billboards of of LA and London and other places and watch these guys work, which is really fascinating. And then it takes a turn because we see that Banksy has taken this man under his wing, the documentarian. Not the documentarian of the movie. This movie actually was directed by Banksy. But in the movie, it follows this man known as Mr. Brainwash. And he would go around filming all these guys, and he was going to make a documentary. And through this, Banksy kind of told him to go start his art, and now he's a famous, underground street artist as well. And watching Banksy kind of see this monster that he created come alive is quite interesting. It's just awesome because even though the movie has been debated if it was real or fake, I think it tackles what constitutes as art. I think it tackles the importance of art and why art, people make art. I think it has a cast of exciting and intriguing characters, and what's really interesting is that they're all real. But if it was real or not, which I don't really have a particular side, but I would think that this movie is real. I don't think the movie is necessarily fake. It's really interesting to kind of see people talk about what art means to them and then how others may copy that art and just get rich without having any meaning behind it at all. Exit the Gift Shop, great movie. All right, I just want to read this tweet right now. This is before I actually tweeted out what I thought about the movie. I said, I'm only 20 minutes into The Hunting Ground and I'm sick to my stomach. Now, I could do a whole 30-minute video on The Hunting Ground, which was what I watched, and on day 164, the Oscar-nominated film about sexual assault on campuses in America. And I honestly think that this is a movie that I can't sit and just go, it's a hard film to review when a message is that important or a message is that strong. Now, if I had to judge it as a documentary, I don't think it's the most riveting documentary as far as filmmaking terms, but the stories that take place in this, the stories that are told to us, the messages and the themes of this movie are so damn important that I think everyone should see it. I actually think that every senior in high school should watch this movie. I mean, I think it is one of the most important documentaries of our time, and it's incredibly important and educated, and the messages and themes that they explore are so crucial. The film needs to be seen so this topic, or more people are aware of this horrific thing. And it's not easy to watch at all. I mean, I was watching it and it made me nauseous. I thought it was terrible. These things that were happening, these cases that were being rejected or swept under the rug so college campuses could have their admissions up because they have a low sexual assault rate. All these things that it explored, it was really oh my god, this is scary. And my girlfriend's dad even ended up watching some of me, and he was getting completely pissed. He has a daughter. I can imagine only that thought of someone not taking a sexual assault seriously. And now, obviously, this movie's an advocate film, right? Like, this movie has a purpose. It's sends you to a website at the end of it. Josh Bell, he always says when there's a website at the end of a movie, it's an advocate film. But I think this is a movie that's important and it needs to be watched. And even though it obviously is only coming at this in one direction, I think it's a very important direction. And just rape culture in general, how we feel. And Josh Bell, we weren't talking about this movie in general. Josh Bell, we were talking about Blackfish before, about advocacy films. So don't just say, oh, Josh, don't. Josh actually hasn't seen The Hunting Ground yet, I don't believe. But this is a movie that's not easy to watch, but it needs to be watched, and it gives you a really honest look about what's going on our college campuses, and in a very small section of the college area, looks at our society and how we look at sexual assault. And I think that's where this film actually becomes very important. But that's where I'll stop. If you haven't seen the movie, I'd recommend checking it out. It's not an easy watch, but I think it's very important that you watch it. Okay, the next day, 165, I watched Being Ginger, a movie that I just discovered on Netflix documentaries. And it was strange and kind of interesting. I don't think it was a very well-made doc. I don't think it's a movie that people need to really see. The film really doesn't take on the idea of society's thoughts on kind of redheads. I mean, it does. It starts off taking on society's ideas of redheads and gingers, as they're demeaningly called. But it ends up just kind of becoming about this filmmaker who is trying to find love and gain confidence. And that's what the movie really is about. Like, if you were to ask me, is this movie about gingers? I'd say, yeah, kind of, but it just so happened that this filmmaker is ginger and it kind of stoops his confidence. But it's not really about the huge, society disliking redheads or anything like that. It's really about this guy who's just trying to get a girlfriend. And it ends, but it doesn't feel really complete. But it's kind of a movie where you're like, well, I don't know where you would technically end this movie. I think if you're bored and you're interested, then watch it. Go ahead, watch it. I mean, I think it's funny and at times smart and interesting. But it's not something memorable. It's not a great movie. It's not some documentary. I mean, if you have to pick this, The Hunting Ground, I'm telling you to watch The Hunting Ground if you're watching this, or Exit to the Gift Shop, I'm telling you to Exit to the Gift Shop. But if you have a thing for redheads, sure, watch it, I guess. I mean, but it was just one of those things you're like, huh, that's interesting. The following day, I watched the new film from Netflix, The Do-Over, starring Adam Sandler and David Spade. And The Do-Over is a film that has 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I didn't hate it. I don't know what it is that Adam Sandler, but critics like to just rail him. I mean, it is brutal. Like 6% is deserving for really bad movies, and I don't think The Do-Over is that bad. It's actually one of those movies that I would argue just washes over you. I feel like I've already forgotten so much of it. I don't think it has an impression. I don't think I wasn't like, oh god, this movie was awful, like I did with Dirty Grandpa, which was the worst movie I've ever seen. But it definitely wasn't a very good movie. I think that it should be a film that focuses on the chemistry between David Spade and Adam Sandler. And though it does kind of focus on that chemistry a bit, it is so convoluted and incoherent with this big plot that has all these twists. It's just baffling. It's trying so hard to be this interesting kind of story that we uncover, and more, and you're just like, where are we going? I don't want to go down this rabbit hole anymore. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, what the hell? Like, this person is, and it's about, curing this and doing that, and all these dead bodies taking over identities. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? It really isn't funny, and it feels like a giant commercial. I mean, beer and it just feels like Adam Sandler and David Spade wanted to do like a cool chase scene and a big action sequence, and this is what they had to do in order to do those. They'll say, we'll make a movie and we'll just do what we want to do. But that's about it. I mean, I think this movie really tried to deliver a cool story and fails miserably. But not to the point where I was like, God, gouging my eyes out with, a pen or anything. But it was just like, all right, yeah, whatever. I don't care, I guess. It's just on. It's on. I'm watching it. I wish I'd be doing something else, but nowhere near as low as 6%. The following day, I watched Big Trouble. And Big Trouble was a movie that I just actually stumbled upon. And it was another film that I didn't hate, but was particularly like panned by critics and people. And I didn't particularly like it either. Like, I think it's erratic and confused, but I think in moments it works. I think it's overstuffed with a ton of characters. I mean, we have Ben Foster, Janine Garofalo, Stanley Tucci. I mean, there's so many people in this movie. Jason Lee. There's so much going on, and although they're all played by great actors, like all those are really talented actors, some of them get some really good moments, but this it's just an incoherent plot. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a coherent plot, but a little bit much. Like it doesn't feel balanced. It doesn't feel like it's on an area that feels like a full story. It feels like they were just throwing things in there last minute. Everything just kind of has this really odd, unbalanced feeling. And like I said, though a really complicated plot does tie together, but this movie has a really great pace and slapstick going for it that does kind of help the movie. But overall, again, I think it's a movie that isn't memorable. It doesn't give us anything to hold on and to remember to. And I think that's where this movie falls. And then last night I watched Woody Allen's Magic and the Moonlight, a 2004 film, which I really wanted to see. I've been wanting to see since it came out. I'm surprised I missed it. But this is an example of Woody Allen's mediocre movies. They're not that terrible. I don't think Woody Allen's actually made like a horrific, awful movie. Just not so good movies. And I think this is one of those examples. It was seen as a major disappointment by fans and critics, but I can't help but feel it was just mediocre. I think it was clunky. A lot of the dialogue was sort of clunky. It wasn't like it didn't reach like that depthful level of some of Allen's best dramas. That's what it looks like. When Woody Allen tackles a drama that has comedy in it, they're usually some of his best work. But at least recently, right? But like his recent comedies, even though I liked Whatever Works, they just don't work that well. I mean, Blue Jasmine works great. But this and this just doesn't seem to have that kind of push. But I will say it's mildly funny and it's wonderfully shot. And I think watching Emma Stone and Colin Firth, they have a really kind of interesting chemistry. I think it has worthy moments, but it's just kind of shallow. And even though it's talking about some like really important things about what's else is out there, life after death, and God, and things like that, it's no means Woody Allen's worst movie, but it's definitely like the middle lower area of his filmography. So, well, that's going to wrap it up. Magic in the Moonlight, Central Intelligence, Exit to the Gift Shop, Being Ginger, The Hunting Ground, Big Trouble, and then what was the other one that I'm not thinking of? The Do-Over. See, I told you it was forgettable. I couldn't even remember it. I definitely recommend The Hunting Ground or Exit to the Gift Shop as the best movies I watched this week. Now, next week, week 25, The Shallow with Blake Lively is going to be hitting theaters this week, since it is Monday. So this week I decided to delve into shark movies. The shark movies that I've never seen. Now, I'm definitely going to be doing... Okay, here's something. If you don't know me, I love sharks. No, I don't. I don't love sharks. I'm terrified of sharks. I mean, I love Jaws. Love that movie. Celebrating its 41st anniversary. Today, actually. I love Jaws. It's one of my favorite films of all time. However, because I love it so much, I refuse to watch the sequels to Jaws. I've never seen Jaws 2, 3, or The Revenge, which I'll be watching this week, along with Open Water and a few other films. So make sure to tune into my Twitter and Instagram right here and watch some of these movies with me, and I'll be doing a recap next week. And that'll include The Shallow, so hopefully that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed watching it. Also, if you never want to miss any of my videos, hit subscribe. Make sure to click that white eye for all my links, my review for Central Intelligence, my review for Finding Dory. Independence Day is coming out this week, so make sure to check out my interview with the cast. All available right up there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or movie recommendations, hit that comment section below and start asking away. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com. My name is Jacob Tiranno, and please continue chasing cinema.